For more than 1,000 years, one city stood at the center of the world's wealth. Not Rome, not Alexandria, not Baghdad, Constantinople. At its height, Constantinople was the richest city on earth. Its markets overflowed with gold. Its palaces shimmered with silk and marble. Its harbors received ships from 3 continents. While other cities rose and fell, Constantinople endured. Founded in the year 330 by Emperor Constantine, the city was built with a clear purpose. It was designed to control trade, power, and information. It was positioned to dominate geography itself. This was not an accident, it was strategy. Constantinople sat at the narrow passage between Europe and Asia. It controlled the sea route between the Mediterranean and the Black Sea. Every ship, every merchant, every empire passed its gates. Taxes flowed into the imperial treasury. Gold moved through its streets. Luxury goods from the east met raw materials from the west. For centuries, no city could rival its wealth. Even when Rome collapsed, Constantinople survived. Even when invasions reshaped Europe, the city stood firm. Even when plagues, wars, and political crises struck, its economy endured. Why? Because Constantinople was not just a capital, it was a system of trade control, a system of imperial administration, a system of financial innovation, a system protected by walls no enemy could easily breach. This city mastered geography, logistics, and governance long before modern economics existed. Its emperors understood that wealth was not only created by production, it was created by control. Control of routes, control of currency, control of law, control of time. In this episode, we explored why Constantinople became the richest city in history. We will examine its strategic location, its dominance of global trade networks, its industrial production and skilled labor, its taxation systems and financial institutions, its defensive architecture and political stability. We will see how silk from China, spices from India, grain from Egypt, and silver from Europe all converged in one place. We will follow the movement of ships through the Bosporus. We will walk through its markets and workshops. We will trace the flow of gold into imperial vaults. And we will understand how this city remained wealthy for over a millennium, while others vanished into ruins. Constantinople was not simply rich, it was designed to be rich. And that design changed the course of history. Constantinople's wealth began with geography. The city stood on a peninsula, surrounded by water on 3 sides. To the north lay the Golden Horn, a natural harbor. To the south stretched the Sea of Marmara. To the east flowed the Bosporus Strait. This narrow waterway connected the Black Sea to the Mediterranean. Any ship traveling between Eastern Europe, Central Asia, and the Mediterranean world had to pass through it. Constantinople controlled that passage. Merchants paid tolls. Empires paid tribute. Navies required permission. This alone generated immense revenue. Grain ships from the Black Sea fed the city. Fur, timber, and slaves came from the north. Silk, spices, and precious stones arrived from the east. Wine, olive oil, and metals arrived from the west. Constantinople became the meeting point of global commerce. Unlike many ancient cities, it did not rely solely on local production. It acted as a broker. Goods entered the city. They were taxed, stored, repackaged, and resold. Every transaction enriched the state. The harbor system amplified this power. The Golden Horn was one of the safest harbors in the ancient world. It could shelter hundreds of ships at once. A massive chain could be raised across its entrance, blocking enemy fleets. Warehouses lined the waterfront. Customs officials recorded cargo. Imperial agents monitored prices. Nothing moved unnoticed. The city also controlled land routes. Roads from the Balkans, Anatolia, and the Middle East converged at Constantinople. Caravans arrived with camels and carts. Markets operated year-round. This created constant economic activity. Constantinople never slept. At the heart of the economy stood the imperial government. Unlike feudal systems elsewhere, Byzantium maintained centralized administration. The emperor controlled taxation, currency, and trade regulations. This stability attracted merchants. They trusted Byzantine law. They trusted Byzantine contracts. They trusted Byzantine money. The gold solidus became the most reliable currency in the world. For over 7 centuries, its weight and purity remained unchanged. Merchants accepted it across Europe, Africa, and Asia. This consistency created confidence. Confidence created trade. Trade created wealth. The state minted coins carefully. Gold reserves were protected. Counterfeiting was punished severely. In contrast, many other empires debased their currency during crises. Constantinople resisted this temptation for generations. This financial discipline preserved economic dominance. The city also produced luxury goods. Silk was the most valuable commodity of the medieval world. For centuries, China controlled its production. Then, in the 6th century, silk secrets reached Constantinople. According to historical accounts, monks smuggled silkworm eggs, hidden inside bamboo canes. This transformed the city's economy. Imperial workshops began producing silk domestically. The state controlled production tightly. Silk garments became symbols of power. Only the emperor could wear certain colors and patterns. Foreign rulers paid enormous sums for Byzantine silk. Diplomacy itself became an economic tool. Weapons were another major industry. Constantinople manufactured swords, armor, and siege equipment. Skilled artisans worked in regulated guilds. These guilds ensured quality and controlled prices. They also paid taxes. The city's population supported specialization. At its peak, Constantinople housed between 400,000 and 500,000 people. This scale was unmatched in medieval Europe. A large population meant a large workforce. It meant innovation. It meant constant demand. The food supply system made this possible. Grain from Egypt was shipped annually. State granaries stored reserves. Bread was distributed at controlled prices. This prevented famine. It prevented unrest. Economic stability followed. The city's defenses protected its wealth. The Theodosian walls were among the strongest fortifications ever built. They stretched across the landward side of the city. 3 layers of walls, moats, towers. For nearly 1,000 years, no enemy breached them. While other cities were sacked repeatedly, Constantinople remained intact. Its markets were not destroyed. Its infrastructure survived. This continuity allowed wealth to accumulate. The city also mastered diplomacy. Instead of constant warfare, emperors used gold strategically. They paid allies. They bribed enemies. They manipulated rival powers. This was cheaper than war. Gold preserved gold. The bureaucracy ensured efficiency. Tax collectors operated across the empire. Records were maintained meticulously. Revenue flowed back to the capital. Corruption existed, but systems limited its damage. The city invested in infrastructure. Aqueducts delivered water from distant sources. Cisterns stored millions of gallons. Baths, streets, and ports were maintained. This improved productivity. Education also played a role. Constantinople preserved classical knowledge. It trained administrators, engineers, and legal experts. Law codes standardized commerce. Disputes were resolved predictably. Merchants preferred predictable systems. The church contributed economically. Pilgrims traveled to Constantinople. They spent money. They donated wealth. Relics attracted visitors from across the Christian world. The city monetized faith. Foreign communities lived within its walls. Venetians, Genoese, Arabs, Armenians, and Slavs all traded there. Special districts were established. This diversity expanded trade networks. Even during decline, the city remained rich. After losing territories, Constantinople adapted. It relied more on commerce than land taxes. It remained a financial hub. Only in 1453 did this long era end. When the Ottomans captured the city, they inherited its wealth. They preserved its role as a global center. Constantinople became Istanbul. The system endured. Constantinople was not the richest city by chance. It was rich by design. Geography gave it an advantage. Human planning turned that advantage into dominance. The city controlled sea routes and land routes. It taxed trade efficiently. It protected merchants with law and military strength. Its currency inspired trust. Its industries produced luxury goods unmatched elsewhere. Its population supported specialization. Its food systems ensured stability. Its walls protected continuity. Its diplomacy reduced destruction. For over a millennium, Constantinople accumulated wealth while others lost it. It proved that cities thrive not only through conquest, but through control. Control of movement. Control of money. Control of systems. Even after its fall, the foundations remained. Modern Istanbul still reflects this legacy. The richest city in history was not built on gold mines. It was built on ideas. Ideas of logistics. Ideas of governance. Ideas of economic balance. Understanding Constantinople helps us understand modern global cities, trade hubs, financial centers, strategic choke points. The past still shapes the present. Subscribe, follow, and explore more historical insights.